So is self-help dangerous? You hear about the hustle culture, about work your ass off, do your affirmations, do your meditation, work out, and things will just get better. So what do? You grab book after book after book, and it makes you feel better because you're getting that dopamine hit for just finishing that book, about learning new things you have never understood or could grasp onto. But is this toxic? See, I think this is just all interpreted completely wrong. So here's my take on it. Self-help is like anything else you come across. Self-help is but a tool that you use to improve your foundation. So self-help, I think, has a bad rap in the fact that people are looking for instant gratification. You cannot get fat by eating a whole pizza in one night. But if you ate a whole pizza every night for the next 6 months, you realize that you will slowly start to add on weight. It's the same way with self-help. You cannot expect self-help to instantly patch any issues that you've had throughout your life. Though self-help should not aim towards anything in particular as opposed to depression or anxiety. Yes, these things are part of other aspects of our life that have affected our life. But I think it all comes down to one thing. You see, I've been most productive and most motivated the more self-help I do, and you realize that this will come to you the more books you read to improve your life. But you have to understand that the reason that you are doing this is to provide value, to understand that you have purpose in life. We all look for purpose in life. And if you can't find your purpose in life, you realize that you start becoming depressed. You start having anxiety. You start having all these other issues, essentially side effects for not having that purpose. So do these tools actually help? The visualization, the meditation, the working out, all these different tools, do they actually help you in achieving those things that you want? Yes, they do. They're not instantaneous. And I think that's where we essentially get caught up in this whole fact that self-help is just this monotony of just dopamine hit after reading books that don't actually help you make any progress in your life. But you have to realize that a tool is a tool. And used improperly, it will not get you to your destination. You can have a compass, but if you don't have a destination, you do not know where you're going. You have to have a clear picture of where you're going. So a lot of these tools are rewiring that old functionality, those misbeliefs, those things that hold you back, and realize that you need a new perspective in life. Maybe you don't have enough experiences in life and realize that these new experiences, that's what all these gurus are out here for, is to try to switch your perspective. Because changing your perspective is one of the hardest things to do. A lot of times it takes some massive event in your life to help you actually change perspective and realize that those little things do matter. That these little tools that you're doing each and every day that are rewiring the way that you're thinking will get you ultimately to your end goal. But we are so used to just not keeping the same perspective, keeping the same beliefs that we feel have led us to great things, but yet we turn to self-help to try to help us rediscover our life, reimagine our life to where we really want it to be and not to where it currently is. But to do that, you have to get new perspective, to realize that there is abundance of things out there and things aren't at a lack. When you realize that things aren't in lack and that things are actually in abundance, then you realize that, hey, things aren't as bad as they seem. Perspective is everything. For in my life, I've had my perspective shift many different times, and some of the biggest perspective shifts I've had have come in diet, have come in finance, in realizing that the way I perceive life, because a lot of these things we aren't taught. A lot of these things are left up to us to go out and search and really research these things to really understand what is essentially given to us, which is not hardly anything, a very general baseline of misinformation about how things work, or perhaps even a parent's perspective that's been skewed in a specific way. So you have to realize that you need to change your perspective, and a lot of these gurus out here are trying to find a way to jolt that perspective change, because that's the only way you're going to be able to change your perspective. And again, for me, it was a health scare. It was the passing of my father for my perspective to shift so dramatically much that I actually started taking action on these different things. And although you can read 60, 70 books a year, that's great. You have new information, but if you're not actually applying this stuff or making the effort to go out and do these different things, you realize that your life will not change. You have to have that perspective shift that makes you refocus on time. Time is something you're not getting back. When you realize that window of time is closing in, you realize that you have to actually take effort, do effort to change those things in your life, to enjoy life. By utilizing these tools to give you a vision of where you're trying to go, to give you the body that you've always wanted, to give you the confidence and the motivation to go out and seek those things that you want without hesitation, without being fearful. That's what these tools are here for. So to summarize, we don't focus on depression. We don't focus on anxiety. We don't focus on the stress. We don't focus on the negative self-talk. Why? Yes, these things, they do require that you need to have focus and understanding that they are there, they do exist. But by focusing on them, they're not going to help you. You need to shift onto your purpose. Get perspective change. Be curious on what is actually going to help you in life and take those steps. But you're not going to be able to do that unless you can change your perspective. You have to challenge yourself, get outside of your comfort zone to really be able to make that shift, whatever it will take. Because a lot of times you'll just sit and you'll talk about it. Or the fact that you will just relay back to, well, self-help doesn't work, because I tried it for 60 days, maybe a couple months, and it didn't do me any justice. I didn't get anywhere. Sure, I felt great after reading a couple books, but I didn't apply what I learned. I didn't get that perspective shift on realizing that time is the most valuable thing I have, and I want to have purpose, I want to have value, so to be able to do this so I can feel happy, so I'm not depressed, so I'm not anxious, so I'm not stressed out, I have to make the effort to do that each and every day. So in my perspective, self-help is not toxic. It's, again, a perspective approach that you should be interpreting in the correct manner. It's not to say that I am trying to push an agenda onto you guys, but I'm trying to give you a perspective to help you understand that this is what's going to help you and to get you out of those ruts, to understand why you may not be achieving those things that you want in life. Does self-help seem like a cult? Anything can be interpreted as a cult. It's finding what works for you. Going through a bunch of books, figuring out what works for you, applying that, getting perspective, realizing time isn't in abundance, and going out and achieving those things you want to achieve. So when you get old and gray, you don't regret anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, if you do enjoy this video, to hit the like button on the way out. Till next time, I will see you guys later.